to Fredonia Village Hall for tonight's Board of Trustees meeting, this regular meeting. We're going to call the meeting to order on Monday, January 22nd at 7 p.m. In attendance, we'll do roll call. Trustee Twitchell.
Here.
Trustee Wendell.
Here.
Trustee Syracuse.
Here.
Trustee Brockler.
Here.
And Trustee Esperson.
Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. A couple things I'd like to address before I get into the meeting. Number one, last week it was mentioned that, or last meeting, excuse me, it was mentioned that it wasn't on television. There wasn't a basketball game on TV. That's what the question was. The basketball game didn't start until 7:30. So that's why ours was recorded the first time around. So it had a late start, and that's why we weren't on our regular channel. So tonight we are on the regular channel. We are all set. Earlier today we were notified that we had a break in, what do we call it, a break on a link. A link that went bad on our redacted report, Labella report, that we had taken it down. It wasn't down, the link was broken. Within about 3 minutes, we replaced the link and it's there. So it's there for you to take a look at, and we're all set and ready to go. And then finally, there's this new cell phone line for you to call me. I changed my personal cell phone, and I welcome anybody to call. If you have questions, it's 716-724-0607. That's 716-724-0607, and that is also listed on the website as well. Okay, let's continue with the meeting. There is approval of minutes. There are none for this meeting?
Nope.
Okay. Department reports, Code Enforcement Office. Chuck, anything? Okay. DPW, you've had a busy week.
Yeah, we've had some water main breaks out there. Everything went pretty good for the most part. I thought the weather, but everything's back in service and we're good to go.
Excellent. Fire Department.
I have nothing to report, thank you.
Okay. Police Department.
I have nothing.
All right. Recreation Department.
I have a couple things. I just wanted to say, the Fredonia Convert Recreation Department wanted to give our deepest condolences to Lou Carvalho and his surviving family. Lou passed away on December 9th following extended illness. Lou graduated from SUNY Fredonia and taught at Silver Creek Elementary School. Lou loved Fredonia, and he served on multiple committees, including Fredonia Parks Commission, the Chautauqua County Parks Commission, the Gardner Street Playground Committee, and the Ice Skating Rink at Russell Joy Park Committee. And our department is thankful for the donations we've received from his last wishes, and we will recognize Lou with a plaque at Gardner Street Playground. And then for the winter recreation, we're on session 2. We've had about 40 kids enrolled, and we just ordered our t-shirts, so we're really excited.
Things are moving along.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Wastewater treatment plant.
On January 9th, the winter storm caused the plant to go into generator power. When this happened, the valve for the filter beds should have opened, but instead all 3 of them closed. The staff manually opened the valves to alleviate the situation. Later that evening, the control panels for the blowers had their battery backups run out of power because the plant was on generator power for so long. Staff was working on connecting power to the control panels when the plant returned the grid power. Jeff Telecki of Wendell has been informed about the situation and is checking with the engineers on how to clarify the situation.
Exciting first week.
Yeah.
There you go. Water treatment plant. Louis, you had a fun week too.
Not really.
Yeah? All right. The tank's back up, right?
Tank's up and running, everything's good.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. On to the public portion of the meetings. Do you want to read that?
Sure.
Go right ahead.
This portion of the meeting is for public comment. Any member of the public wishing to speak, once recognized, shall stand at the microphone and state their name and address. Speakers will be allowed 3 minutes of speaking for themselves, or 5 minutes if speaking on behalf of a group. I would appreciate it if they would let me know which one is which before they start. I will ask the speakers to refrain from remarks that are in poor taste, slanderous, or not germane to any action taken or contemplated by the board.
With that, I want everyone to know that the public portion of these meetings were actually brought about by a resolution that has been passed for many, many years. That means it's law. And in many cases, people are here tonight were part of making that law. And in doing so, 3 minutes is for individuals, 5 minutes for groups. And everybody has to say is very, very important, but this isn't the first meeting. And I ask that you respect that. You'll know when your 3 minutes are up. And again, if you're speaking on behalf of the group, please name the group. So is there anybody here that would like to approach the trustees? Please do so, and please name your name and your address. The microphone is open.
Is MJ Stafford here? I didn't meander to the microphone, and I'm not muttering. I will be pontificating. I'm Andy Ludwig, 30 Ryan Place. I'm going to ask for 5 minutes because I am representing a group. I don't have a name for the group yet, but after the pieces I've had in the paper, some people reached out to me and said, go talk for 5 minutes. If you want to call the group the people that want to hear Andy Ludwig talk for 5 minutes, give me 5 minutes, please. Are we okay?
Go ahead.
Your
I've
call,
got
yeah.
5 minutes. Once again, on tonight's agenda, I see that Trustee Twitchell has a resolution regarding Fredonia's water situation. This resolution is to rescind the December 26th resolution calling for the termination of Fredonia's reservoir and water treatment plant and purchasing water from Dunkirk in favor of upgrading the village's reservoir and water treatment plant. And I'd like to once again encourage a dutiful trustee to second Twitchell's motion, and I implore the board to pass this resolution. Trustee Syracuse, you were quoted in the paper from last Wednesday's meeting as saying to Trustee Twitchell, what are you trying to do with this resolution? Wear people down so that we change our minds? I sure hope that's what she's doing. I hope that's exactly what she's doing. That means she's doing her job as a trustee. She's listening to her constituents, and she's acting on their behalf. She's doing what you all should be doing, finding out the will of the people and acting on the will of the people. Now, I've heard quite a few comments from people here and outside of this room about why some of us are opposed to drawing down the reservoir and buying water from Dunkirk. They say, oh, you're afraid of change. Believe me, I'm not afraid of change. The change I want to see is that we start to invest in our infrastructure in a way that hasn't been done in decades and decades and decades. I'm not afraid of change. Oh, you want to kick the can down the road again? Don't want to kick the can down the road again. I want to make the right decision and move forward with it as quickly as possible. I want the reservoir fixed yesterday. So let's get on with it. Now, I've heard that there's a quiet majority out there that's in favor of buying water from Dunkirk, but they're afraid to speak up. Well, prove it. Let's have a vote. You were all seated in your positions based on a vote. If I came to one of you and said, hey, there's a quiet majority out there that wants somebody else in your seat, would you give up your seat? No, you wouldn't. If people are too lazy to find out what the resolutions say, if they're too afraid to come forward, they don't deserve to speak. A speaker at the last meeting said, all you people do is talk to people who agree with you. I'm here talking to you right now, and we don't agree. And there's a wide cross-section of people speaking in favor of keeping the reservoir. And it's pretty eye-opening when Gus Podkovic agrees with people from the farmer's market. If the trustees won't second and approve Twitchell's resolution tonight, at least explain why. Speak for the record why you're in favor of drawing down the reservoir and buying water from Dunkirk. Tell us your reasons so we can understand your thinking. Are you convinced that buying water from Dunkirk is cheaper, short-range, long-range solution? Then show us the numbers. I want to understand why you're so affixed to this decision. I want to know why. Are you reluctant to weigh in because you just received the unredacted water study? Then take the time to read it and come back and tell us why you're making the position that you're making. I hear about fear-mongering. I'm sorry, I heard quite a bit of fear-mongering coming from the county health department at the last meeting. I'm not fear-mongering. I'm not afraid of any of this. I want to get it fixed. Are you afraid of the county health department official who came here and fear-mongered? You know what? She shouldn't have even been able to speak at that portion of the meeting. If she's not a resident of Fredonia, she had no business speaking. If you want to hear from her in her position as a health department official, she should have been on the agenda. Are you afraid of county government? I haven't heard the county executive weigh in on this situation. The county legislator who was here at the last meeting shouldn't have stated that she was a county legislator with her address. Her position as a county legislator has no more weight in here than anybody else's. It doesn't make her any more of an expert. It doesn't give her any more influence. Finally, people argue that the reservoir is a sentimental decision. And for some people it is. And what's wrong with that? What's wrong with having tender feelings for a natural jewel, one of the few we have remaining in our community? But guess what? It's a sentimental decision for me too. I'm sentimental about my tax dollars. I'm sentimental about the fees that I pay. I want to pay as little as possible. I have tender feelings about my pocketbook, just like people have tender feelings about the reservoir. Now, if you won't speak or do anything else, let's at least have a referendum so you can find out what the will of the people is and act on it. And that should be taken before any more steps are taken in this water plan. Find out what the people want, tell the people why you're in positions that you are, and let's get on with it.
Thank you, Andy.
It is rare that, hang on just a second. I'm also not going to sit here and have people beat up on people that have been in office for less than a couple of weeks in a decision that they didn't make, number one. Number two, when this government is allowed to actually meet with the people we are supposed to meet and get you the facts and figures that we can share with you to tell you exactly what the project costs, then we can defend the decision that was made only 4 weeks ago.
Why was the decision made before that information was shared?
What information? Of course, you have to have a meeting after a decision's made with the key stockholders.
Why wouldn't you make the decision before you had the meeting? Before they voted on it? They didn't have the information? The previous board didn't have the information? They voted on information they didn't have.
They did have the information. They've had information on a preliminary study. Not a final study, on a preliminary study. There's the town of Pomfret. Now, I also announced last week, and you're all welcome to it, on the 31st of this month, we will have a meeting downstairs in the Opera House with all the players. When I mean all the players, people that use this water. The town of Pomfret, the Village of Fredonia, the City of Dunkirk, the Lavella Group, our attorneys will all be on stage, and we will be discussing the different things that are concerned to them. Pomfret has concerns about us going with Dunkirk water. Pomfret also has plans. The meeting was called by the town of Pomfret, and it was me who suggested that we make it public so that we can all hear. 3.5 weeks is not enough time to be able to sit here and say A, B, C, or D. We had to provide a way to go. You were provided a way to go. And the shovel won't hit the ground for 2 years, and we can stand here and beat each other up for the next 10 weeks. And until we know what it's going to cost the taxpayers, what it's going to do to your bill, and that I can stand here and say your bill is going to be X, Y, or Z, and these 3 projects will call you A, B, and C. I appreciate everybody's passion, but realize that we, including myself, are taxpayers too. And I'm not too thrilled about having to include and to raise my taxes. So with respect to everybody in this room, please respect everybody in this room. We're all working to try to do the best for this community, as you duly noted, and thank you. So again, this is not, it is frustrating for everybody on this board and on that side of the desk as well. We are residents of the Village of Fredonia together, and we're trying to make decisions that will help Northern Chautauqua County. Not anybody's pockets, not any of those things. So until we have a chance to do these things, and I would challenge anybody to tell me when you've made multi-million-dollar decisions that you could have complete answers for anything that's been voted on in the last 20 years 30 years of this community within 3.5 weeks.
What help would that help anybody if we don't know what's coming out of our pockets? We need to know.
Exactly, and we have to talk to people in government to find out how much it's gonna come out of your pockets.
And we the people are the government.
Okay, well, we have time right here, and this gentleman's up next. So, sir, you have 3 minutes, and thank you.
You're welcome. My name's James Sedota. I was a former village administrator, clerk treasurer in the Village of Fredonia. And I want to, at the Village of Fredonia Board meeting held on December 22nd, Village trustee John Esperson reported that the cost to buy water from the city of Dunkirk would be $1.9 million per year compared to the entire current village budget of $2 million, making it appear that it would cost less to buy water from Dunkirk than it would be the village budget. He failed, however, to recognize other costs as listed on the village budget report amounting to $1.2 million. There are costs for billing, insurance, water distribution, existing debt service, and short-term capital improvement costs. He should have compared the total cost on alternate 3 before new debt service costs of $3.1 million to the current village budget of $2 million, or an increase of $1.1 million using alternate 3. The rate per thousand would be a total of $9.35 per thousand using alternate 3 versus $4.95 per current, using the village current budget as an increase of $4.40. After serving the village position, I understand the complexities of a budget. The process is confusing. It's hard to present financial information that's understandable to everybody. However, the numbers presented here gathered from the current village budget were passed by the village board, and the $1.9 million that was used is a computation that includes buying water from Dunkirk, buying 480 million gallons of water. The difference in buying water from Dunkirk was 1.9. In the village budget, under purification, the cost is around $800,000. So that's a difference of 1.1 million. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Not being critical, just, I make mistakes too, believe me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anybody else that would like to address the board? Oh, I'm sorry, you've got a gentleman stand up.
You didn't see me stand up.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor, and I appreciate your comments earlier. I do want people to imagine how bad this can go if we take off in that option 3. Just imagine the ways it can go wrong. We took big technical challenges, high costs, and wildly unknown risks, instead of following a well-understood plan with mature cost estimates and limited technical risks. And right now we're on a path from that resolution to years of costly disruption and forever of elevated water costs. Recognize right now before us, right now, we have an opportunity to course correct. Get right with the county and avoid some catastrophic consequences that we can actually imagine. My message to Dunkirk Water, if you're good, stay good, because we're going to need each other for real. My message to the Fredonia Village Board, please, someone second this resolution that Michelle's going to bring up. We've got 2 prepared reports with specific recommendations for getting good with the county using our water system. Secondly, get on track with the work that needs to be done right here. See the completion of the nearly finished interconnects. Get to work on the aging village infrastructure. Do some real corrosion analysis on putting Dunkirk water in the Fredonia pipes, and examine strategic locations to make further interconnections with the city of Dunkirk water purchase and make it work for both municipalities. I do want that second, and I do want to see the board vote. I would like to hear every one of you on this board talk about this. I want to hear you. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to come up and speak? And once again, please, your name and your community. Your street, I'm sorry.
Good evening. Michelle York. I live in Fredonia, in Aaron's Place. I grew up in Fredonia. I've got more of an emotional attachment. I lived on Spoden Road, grew up there. So I've got a lot of people who went to school with us who, and truthfully, I wasn't aware of all of the stuff that's been going on or listening into the budgets, but I'm here to plead mostly for the sentimental value, the worthiness of having a reservoir, not only taxes. We have to consider the value of a reservoir for our farmers. We can't be left without something. I don't know who would ever just decide that your water supply isn't important. I understand that it's costly to fix it, but it's also costly to purchase. It's also costly for the taxes that we would be paying other areas. The DEC has brought in many wildlife animals to the area. I don't know if you're aware that we do have eagles. We have eagles nesting in the reservoir. All of these animals and the eagles use the water to forage. What are they supposed to do if you close it down, if you drain it? I don't know. We've got a lot of village people who put their back into building it, and we have a lot of people who have moved from this area who have been in contact begging, please don't let them take the reservoir away. I mean, we go into the village here and we see the work that's going into our, the White Inn, and all different places that we find are of value to our little village, our community that makes it what it is. And the reservoir is not gonna be something that people won't pay attention to, that they won't miss. It's important. It's an ecosystem. It's a reservoir for our water. It's our farming. You know, we have to have this backup. I don't think it's right. And I really hope that you'll all consider a vote for the people of the village, that the petitions that are going around are going to be looked at. They're going to be understood that it's more than just political. It's more than just taxes. It's more than just a fee, because no matter how you look at it, there is going to be a high cost, and it's got to come from somewhere, and it's got to go to somewhere, and I think we should invest in us. That's all.
Thank you for your time. Is there anyone else that'd like to approach?
Richard Leone, 4 Lowell Place, Fredonia. I'm going to use I had a list of questions that I had submitted to Marie, and I understand that they were late coming in, and this is not a question and answer session. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the questions, and then at some point in time, I would hope that we could get some answers at a subsequent meeting, either written or however dispensed. The questions are regarding the Labella report itself, the redacted version. I've been asking since the version came out, what exactly happened? Why did it get redacted and this and that? So here's the thing. Regarding the Labella Water Study Report presented at the December 18th, 2023 public presentation. Hereinafter it'll be called the referenced report. Excuse me, is the reference report a work output from a specific project contract authorized by action of the village board? Question 2, when the project authorization presented and discussed, when was the project authorization presented and discussed in an open meeting authorized by resolution and passed? Number 3, who did the actual redactions to the referenced report? Number 4, under whose authority were the actual redactions to the referenced report made? If these were not done under direct control of the village board, when was the redaction action authorization presented, voted on, and approved by a resolution of the village board? The published meeting notes of the Village of Fredonia website from village board meetings during 2023, and I pretty much went through every single one of them, are vague on these questions at best, with references to meetings with other public officials, correspondence from other public officials, and working meetings with an ad hoc water group being mentioned without referenced attachments to the meeting notes covering these items being available. Is there more information on details regarding the questions above available to residents, property owners, and taxpayers of the village? 7, given the fact that multiple unredacted copies of the reference report have perhaps been released to village officials, Chautauqua County personnel, and other parties in the community, will a procedure be put in place that will allow individual citizens of the Village of Fredonia and other interested parties, perhaps controlled by a non-disclosure agreement sufficient to protect village interests, to request an unredacted copy of the reference report and future summary reports on the project?
You have one more question, go ahead, sir.
And finally, question 8 is, if the answer to question 7 is no, why not? Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak before the board tonight?
Sam Dreo, village resident, Birchwood Drive, former village attorney. I don't want to tell you how many years, you'll start guessing my age, but I was attorney for 48 years for our village. And I was very honored to have that position. I have received a number of calls, Mayor, and I feel that I do represent a segment of the village that is not in favor of giving up our reservoirs. I would ask for more than the 3-minute allocation.
What can I ask, what organization you're representing?
It's not a formal organization. It's a group, people have called me up. We haven't formed an organization.
I will tell you this only because we did it earlier. You can't be making, I will respect you tonight on your wishes, but you know the laws, you helped make them, number one. And I respect you as an attorney. You helped make these resolutions which become law.
Mayor, I can tell you this, we did not have a 3-minute rule when I was village attorney.
But secondly, I'm asking, out of respect to you and respect to these folks, I will let you get away with that tonight because you're representing folks. But again, we know the 3-minute and the 5 limit that has been in place long before was passed again in 2020 and will be passed again tonight, that exists. So I ask respectfully to you if you, in the future, will stay with that. But I will give you your time.
I would just say there's certain things in this village that are very important that 1 or 2 minutes would not make a difference.
I understand that, but in respect to the people who do follow those 3-minute rules.
I'm not using up my 3 minutes right now.
No, you're not yet.
Okay.
As soon as we say go. We still love you, Sam, but go ahead.
I want to address the Observer's editorial that was in today's paper. The editorial stated that the decision to proceed with option 3, the discontinuance of the village water system, was not rushed. The Observer states that the village leaders for 3 decades have done very little to improve the water system. The Observer is trying to justify a rushed decision by the village board because previous village boards for 3 decades did very little. The current village board was not here three decades ago. I'm going to quote the Bible. The Bible states that you should not cast the sins of the fathers onto the sons. I hope that gets in the paper. The Observer editorial is misleading and incorrect. What the village board did or did not do 3 decades ago absolutely has nothing to do, no bearing on the current village board's responsibility to the public and its obligation to make a careful and diligent study of the issues. and to make an informed decision on this most important issue facing our village, the discontinuance of the village water system, or keeping it and improving it. The village board has only met twice with Labella, with the meetings were public presentations, the last being at the Opera House on December 18th. Only 10 days later, a decision was made to pursue the discontinuance of the village water system. I said pursue, I didn't say absolutely do, but that was a decision and a resolution that was adopted by the village board. To my knowledge, there has never been any workshop sessions of the village board to carefully review the options. Workshop sessions must be open to the public as required by the open meetings law. If workshop session is held, a representative from Labella should be present. No experts or former employees were called to sit in with the village board to review the decisions. The planning board has been totally left out of the picture when the village board should have asked them to study the issues. The Observer states there's absolutely, quote, absolutely no truth that the decision was rushed. But then later on in the article, the Observer states, quote, there was a quick study and the trustees decided to do something. So I don't know where the editorial's coming from. The Observer finally admits in its editorial that the decision was quick. The board should rescind its resolution to terminate the village water system and set a time schedule to carefully review the options in detail and in public. The village water customers deserve from the village board a careful and thorough review of the issues. Thank you.
Thank you. And Sam, before you go very far, there was an article by a very wise man in the paper last weekend, and I quote that wise man: "The village should take the time necessary to complete a thorough diligence of the issues and make an informed decision. It's owed to the water customer." We ask the same.
Yep.
So.
That's what I'm asking.
And two things I will say, and we have the August 31st meeting, which is open to the general public, and I called the Water Authority today to set up a tour for the planning board that will take place in the next 7 days. Those are steps we need to take to get you the information. So I love everybody's passion, but keep in mind, no one's ignoring anyone here. But a decision was made, and now we have to weigh those options and do our due diligence. So, again, I promise you not to be talking after everybody who speaks. It's second meeting, but I want you to know that steps are already being taken to, so that the public knows what's going on, and we will always be transparent with those things. Is there anybody else who would like to speak to the board tonight? Please state your name and your street.
My name is Marcia Johnson. I live at 138 Cushing Street. There's a lot of people here who have an opinion on this, and there's a lot of emotion involved. But I bet if you go and ask 90% of the people in this area, where does the water come from? Most of them probably don't even know. You can say, I represent an organization, I represent the majority, but the majority of the people that you know. That doesn't mean the majority of the people in this area. People are elected to make decisions, and the decisions have been made. That's why there's nothing in our charter that says we should have the entire community vote on things. That's not how we work. We could get rid of the board and just have everybody vote on every issue if that's how you want to do it. That's not how a democracy works, a representative democracy works. People are elected to represent the people. I do have a question. Mr. Sedota compared the price of how much it will cost to buy the water, and I believe he's comparing it with the current price. And it's not going to be the same price after we spend millions and millions to improve our water system. It will cost maybe much more because we probably will not be able to get as many grants in order to make the improvement. Everybody has been saying, the government says they much prefer that we collaborate with other communities. I think a lot of people don't understand how government works. You can't just say, this is the cost. You go out to bid, and then the bid tells you, you have to make a bid. And the construction companies will tell you how much it will cost, but it doesn't, you can't just know off the top of your head until you go out to bid. And then you have to apply for grants, and then you'll know how much you get. So to keep saying, we need to know how much it costs, that's not how government works. And anyone who has worked in government understands how bidding works. And are you saying that isn't correct?
There are appraisals and there are jet fund shoots and there are plans.
Right, but you still don't know exactly how much it costs. Excuse me, this is my
Okay,
time.
can we have order, please?
Thank you.
Can we have order, please? Thank you.
I wasn't looking at you. So I'm
Excuse
just
me.
saying that people have to understand that cost is very important. I agree. But the cost, when I looked at the report, it seemed like it was much more expensive to maintain the Fredonia water system. And no matter how much you love the reservoir, that isn't the best decision, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. We have anybody, okay, see you, thank you.
Just briefly, most of us do know how government works. And we also know how to read budgets. And when we read budgets and we look at estimates, we know that it's just estimates. If we look at Chautauqua County, the northern, the county water district, we can see there were a lot of underestimations going on. And now in Sheridan, we're like, oh no, what do we do now? These pipes didn't cost what we thought they were going to cost 2 years ago. But, I simply want to say that those of us who are here are not here out of sentimentality. We're thinking of the logistics of pumping water uphill, which requires electricity and pumps and all kinds of ways to get water. And, I live in the upper elevations, water pressure. Sometimes Dunkirk has problems with water pressure with fires. If there's a fire in my neighborhood, I want the water coming down at me, not coming up at me. Okay, it's just common sense. Okay, and I think all we're asking is that this board listen to Michelle, step back, do what you should have done in the first place, and it's not your fault because some of you weren't even here. But we're asking you to just step back and really think about this. The other thing I'll say before my time is up is that I was out yesterday and a friend of mine wrote a song that ended up in the Observer. Some of you may have seen it. It's kind of a cool tune. And he wrote most of it. I didn't really do much for it. But I saw some people in Dunkirk, and they did say to me, I hope you understand that we're concerned in Dunkirk. We're concerned because we think that we would be going way beyond, what we can do trying to service your village and Dunkirk. And we may lose some of the quality in our own service. So maybe we could work together so that Fredonia could be a supplier and Dunkirk could be a supplier. But if Algae blooms come down from, the west, we have a backup. So it just makes sense in this day and age of climate change and storms. Who would have thought we'd be worrying about air quality in the summer? So I think we have to look ahead and think logically, step back, and listen to these people. And I haven't talked to anybody yet who thinks it's a great idea to try to truck water up the hill. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak before the board?
Tennessee Landis, Fredonia. I promise I will not have any kind of passion or emotion. I don't have any emotional connection to the reservoir anyways. So I want to apologize, Mr. Esperson, for the wrong statement last time. I took it out of the official statement of our treasurer at the time. Times change, maybe rules change as well. But this is about you two. So at the December 22nd special meeting, Trustee Esperson said, and I quote, "In the last 5 years, our expenses just producing water have gone up over 30%. The cost of producing water this year alone is almost $2 million," end quote. Alas, none of these statements is correct. According to your budgets, and yes, I did go back 5 years, the expenses related to producing water have not gone up by 30%, but only 11.5%. That's a big difference. Furthermore, the cost of producing water this year is not almost $2 million. It's actually $1,002,280. That includes personnel, supplies, and everything else needed to produce water. When he said $2 million, he included administration, distribution, our water debt, and even this year's capital projects. Guess what? No matter where we get our water from, either produce it or buy it, from Dunkirk, North County Water District, or Timbuktu for that matter, we still have to pay for administration, distribution, our debt, and which is right now about $2 million, and of course, our capital projects. Using the numbers from this year's budget, the budget that you adopted, the sum of administration, distribution, debt service, and capital projects is almost $900,000. So if we were to start buying water from Dunkirk, that will cost us $1.9 million, plus the $900,000, or about $2.8 million. That's about $800,000 more than the entire current water budget. But you know what? We can't start buying water from Dunkirk right now because we don't have infrastructure yet. That, by the way, will cost another $26 million, according to the cheapest estimate from the Labella report. Who will pay for that? Please don't say grants unless and until you have been awarded one. I know how this works. Not to mention that even in the best case scenario, grants won't pay more than 50% of the cost. My question, Trustee Esperson, is this: why did you make those two incorrect statements? Honestly, I'm just trying to understand. Because in my opinion, this decision will drown Fredonia in debt and will have a very negative effect in the entire area, including Dunkirk. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak before the board tonight? Is there anyone else that would like to speak? We have, excuse me. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Susan Parker. I live at 82 Newton Street, and I'm a county legislator in District 4 of the County of Chautauqua. I just wanted to say I am very much supportive of all the work that has been done by the board up till now, and I have full faith that the board will consider things as it goes forward in a very thorough and cost-effective way. And I wanted to say just how much I have been paying attention for the last year and before, and how much work I have seen done by the trustees and the decisions that have been made, and the fact that this is a path that they are starting. And as Mayor Ferguson said, as things move forward, they are going to take everything into account. Thank you.
Good evening. James Linden, 55 Castile Drive. 2 weeks ago, I was here, and we had noticed that the comptroller, state comptroller, had did a report audit on the North County Water District, and I'm sure that all of the board members were smart enough to read that full report, because you've had a couple weeks to do so. And in that report, the county. It was discovered the county was owed from the water district, where they had borrowed from the general fund, that's our taxpayer dollars for the rest of the county, well over $5 million that they owe us, and they have no way to pay it back. And the reasoning was that they discovered that they did not do a financial analysis that was supportive of that district or the whole formation of, or a plan to pay back those funds in the time allotted. They still don't do that. This board has not, prior to making a decision to enter into an agreement with the county to buy water from Dunkirk and close our own system, They did not do a financial analysis that supports the costs. I don't want to be put in that same position. So I'm asking that this board has at least 3 members that will support Michelle's Twitchell resolution this evening to rescind that December 26th resolution and move forward with the opportunity, as the resolution states, to support the Village of Fredonia's own current system, because it is less expensive. You'll find that, as a number of people have already stated, the costs, somewhere is between it's about 1.8 to over $2 million for the first year of purchasing just the water. That's more than our entire revenue for our current budget. But it gets worse than that. They added, and that's based on the reason so I know some people didn't quite understand, that was based on the volume of water that we produce currently through the village, about 480 million gallons a year. And that's what you would have to buy from Dunkirk, and without doing any repairs to our own system, because you're going to spend all the money elsewhere. So what that costs then, this is based on the projected amount of $3.875 dollars per 1,000 gallons that Dunkirk projected. But there's a 3% annual increase that they also were asking for. Excuse me. That represents, it's a compounded amount of money. In 10 years, it'll be $2.5 million. That's a lot of money. So I ask for your support of this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak before the board tonight? Is there anyone else that would like to speak before the board tonight? Is there anyone else that would like to speak before the board tonight? Thank you for your time. Correspondence. Is there any correspondence from the public?
Mr. Leone read his questions, and I passed them out to the board, so that was my correspondence.
Okay.
Can I go ahead with correspondence?
Go right ahead.
Okay. Correspondence dated January 3rd, 2024 was received from the Secretary of the Fredonia Volunteer Fire Department requesting to remove the name Amanda Baggett from the active roll to the honor roll of the Fenner Hose Company.
Be resolved that the name Amanda Baggett be transferred from the active roll of the Fenner Hose Company effective immediately.
Be it resolved that.
Paul.
You got just one moment.
Yeah, I read it. You can just second it.
Do we have a second?
My second.
Okay. Trustee Twitchell?
Aye.
Trustee Wendell?
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Brocklin?
Aye.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
So passed.
Correspondence dated January 2024 was received from the Concord Grape Belt Heritage Association requesting membership and dues for the 2024 year.
Do we have a second?
He has to read it.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Can you read it, trustee?
All right. Be it resolved that the request from the Concord Grape Belt Heritage Association, care of Grape Discovery Center, 8305 West Main Road, Westfield, New York, for membership and dues in the amount of $50 is hereby approved.
Second.
Full correspondence.
Okay. Motion to approve, Trustee Esperson.
Aye.
Trustee Brockler.
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse.
Aye.
Trustee Wendell.
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell.
Aye.
I'm sorry.
Call me
Dry mouth.
Twitchell?
Twitchell. Okay. Any further correspondence?
No.
Okay. Mayor's report. As we mentioned earlier, the link has been fixed on the report, the redacted report for Labella, and it is on the website. January 10th, we held our first meeting with the mayor and the chambers at 9 a.m. We are going to move that to Thursday at 9 a.m. Because we will be holding our workshops at 9 a.m. on Wednesdays. So Thursday at 9 a.m. we'll be moving the meeting with the mayor. It's open door. You're more than welcome to stop by, and I promise to have coffee available. January 11th, met with a group of concerned citizens regarding the Fredonia Farm Festival. On the 15th, we delivered a proclamation for Martin Luther King Day at the annual Martin Luther King Day Luncheon at the Clarion Hotel to the community and members of the Juneteenth Festival Committee. On January 16th, met with Mayor Kate in Dunkirk, Governor Hochul's representatives, Bonnie Lockwood and her staff, to discuss community issues that we'll be bringing to the state's attention, including, but not limited to, the opening and building of our hospital, our water situation, and the state and importance of SUNY Fredonia to our community and its sustainability. On January 17th this week, we held our first workshop in preparation of tonight's meeting. Also on the 17th, I had a chance to meet with Mr. Bill Madison of the Cope Foundation. On January 18th, we met with board members of the library and the museum to introduce one another and get to meet one another. And they asked that we be under consideration, since the library is owned by the village, for possible future grants to be able to sustain and improve their building as well. January 18th, we met with Festivals Fredonia President Larry Fiorella to further discuss upcoming festival schedules. On Friday, January 19th, we met with the president of the Brooks Board, Christopher Lansky, and president and CEO of Brooks Hospital, Ken Morris, along with Dunkirk Mayor Kate and Development Director Vince Joy, to further discuss the direction needed to move the hospital project forward, as well as a review of their sustainability report, which was very impressive. Myself, Trustee Twitchell, and also Trustee Esperson met with the LEMC Water and Fishing Group this morning at Fredonia State Incubator to learn about the condition of our area's waters, sports fishing, and harbor status. Attending a meeting with the both trustees. I will be attending the NICOM Convention and Legislative Meeting on February 4th through 6th in Albany, along with Trustees Twitchell, Esperson, Brockler, and Wandell. And again, we will also take whatever opportunities there are to talk about SUNY Fredonia, our hospital, and also the water situation that we're working on now. And that is my report for today, or this week, I should say. And now I just lost the front page of my report. Hang on one second. Trustee reports. Trustee Twitchell.
Okay, as you said, I was present with Trustee Esperson and the mayor at the Lake Erie Management Commission meeting, and we would like to further study about using a fishing site, and it could be a win-win for us because Joanna, okay, it's a Polish name, Panaswish of Erie County Government, she's from Lake Erie Watershed Protection Alliance, and Casey Brower, she's with Soil and Water. And I'd like to have them come, Mayor, and to present to us, to the board, their ideas about fixing the area behind the fire hall to make it a safer area for fishermen. And I believe that there would be some grant money available to do that. Mm-hmm. So I'll be requesting them perhaps to come to the next meeting.
Certainly.
Because this needs to be in by April, this grant. So that's what I'd like to report on that. And I'd also like to report, I went to the library museum meeting, and the library now, they're honoring our local artists. And right now, they have Tom Janik, who is a photographer and local landscape artist. His work is on display at the library through February. And I would like to invite everyone to go to the library and check out the artwork. It's really beautiful. And that's all I have tonight.
Excellent. And thank you for making copies of the schedule for everyone for the fishing events that are coming up.
You're welcome.
In the next few weeks. Trustee Wandell.
I've reached out to 3 department heads. I'll be meeting this week. That'll be code enforcement, DPW, and finance. So next meeting I should have 3 reports available.
Thank you. Trustee Syracuse.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a few comments about one of the resolutions that's on today's agenda. I think everybody has asked us over and over again, why did you vote the way that you voted? And what everybody seems to think is that our water rate is gonna stay the same if we were to keep our reservoir. That's not accurate. It's completely inaccurate. It shouldn't even be what it is right now. The difference for what people are gonna pay just for water, is a difference of less than $10 for the two alternatives that we ultimately chose from. So at that point, then it comes down to where are you gonna get grants from? And we have been told by people who have had a lot of experience in getting grants and administering those grants that this project, should we keep our water system, is going to be seen mostly as a maintenance project. That means that we are highly unlikely to get the same amount of grants that we would get if we were to cooperate with Dunkirk and create this intermunicipality cooperation for water. Water treatment plants by design are only good for a certain amount of time, so we wouldn't even be done paying for this project, and we'd need to be upgrading the next thing. I've heard concerns about losing profit. We're losing money every year, so there is no profit. I mean, this year we're projected to lose over $500,000. Option one is just fiscally unresponsible. You can't put forth policy and decisions because you would like to keep something and you have sentimental attachment to it. And, you know, as much as I would like to keep it, it's just not fiscally responsible for the village at this point. There's too much. There's too much work that has to be done. It seems that there are people who are so opposed to any sort of moving forward and any cooperation with Dunkirk and it's really a shame. So having this resolution on the agenda for today, going against the mayor's wishes of having it run through committee, it's inappropriate, it's disrespectful to the committee, it's disrespectful to the mayor and his wishes and how he would like the resolutions to be presented. And it's just, for something to keep appearing when you have no other support, it's a waste of the clerk's time to continue to put it forward.
I'd like to remind the mayor that this is trustee committee reports. She's not to give her opinion at this time.
I am on the water committee, so I'm explaining.
Well, you're giving your opinion on something. Right. You're not giving a committee report.
And to clear up some misconceptions, the North County Water District has never been part of our discussions. That was clearly, not a good option years ago. It still isn't a good option now, so we never even included that in this report.
I would love to debate you at the next workshop and everything you've said so far.
Our college and our hospital are in jeopardy as it is. If we were to rescind this resolution that we had previously passed, the notifications alone that we would have to be sent out from us, from the county, would be a great detriment to both the admissions of the college and potentially getting that hospital here. There are some big, high-level, very scary notifications that have to go out that basically say your water is at extreme risk and we can't guarantee it at all.
You're fear-mongering, and I
Okay,
wish
enough
Mayor
from
she
both
would
ends,
stop.
please.
Thank you, that's all I have to report.
Once again, I remind everybody that we stated this last week, our last meeting. We also stated it during the workshop. Nothing comes to the floor without first going through committee. And so just keep that in mind for future. Trustee Brockler.
A very short report. I had a chance to tour our public access television station, which was a lot of fun because I used to work in the field, so I enjoyed checking that out, and that was very interesting. I'll be meeting with the Finance Committee this week, so we'll have some information from that. I'd also like to address that particular resolution. I hate to bring it in at this moment, but I agree with the folks who say we need further study. The resolution that was passed on the 26th was quick. There wasn't a whole lot of time between the production of the report and the resolution. I don't agree that this is the time to rescind it, however, but I would like time to study this whole issue further, and I think down the road, we have an opportunity to change direction if it seems to be the best direction for the village. But that's what it's got to be. We have to choose the best direction for the village. However, I believe Trustee Twitchell's resolution deserves a vote, so I will be seconding it tonight. I don't believe I'll be voting in favor of it, but, you know, that may change 6 months down the road. We'll see where we go with this, and let's do our due diligence and find out what things are going to cost. That's the only thing that we can do that's responsible. That's it.
Thank you. Trustee Esperson.
Yeah, the Lake Erie Management Commission meeting that we all attended, one of the benefits to the Village of Fredonia is there are 3 or 4 village-owned properties that we're looking at that we could use access to the creek, and hopefully, I believe they said there'd be grant money available through the 2% bed tax. There was a location on Liberty Street, on Madison, and then behind the fire hall, and there are also another couple of locations they're looking at. I had a chance to meet with Chief Price last week to talk about staffing challenges and looking at hopeful solutions. Later this week, we're meeting with the Portland Pomfret Dunk Sewer District to renew negotiations. And I just want to say that I welcome civil conversation with anyone that wants to have one with me. My number and my email address are available on the website. If you want to have a conversation with me, I'll be happy to do that with anybody that wants to take advantage of that. And I'll just have to say that all the fear that we can't pump water up the hill, I'm a member of a church that supports a church in Rwanda, and they're building infrastructure to pipe water up a mountain. So I'm fairly certain if they can pump water up a mountain, we can get it up as 800 feet or whatever the distance is. And that's all I have.
Thank you, trustees, for your works with your various committees. We appreciate it, and your communication with staff. Treasurer's report.
Nothing this evening.
Additional reports.
The Fredonia Justice Court report for December 2023. Following is a report for the month of December. Total number of cases closed, 54. Of those, vehicle and traffic, 42. Criminal, 6. Village ordinances, 3. Civil cases, 2. ABC laws, 1. Total fines and surcharges, $3,251. Parking ticket fines, $1,902, for a total of $5,153. The Fredonia Police Department report for the month of December 2023. Total incidents reported, 1,059. Fredonia Central School calls for service, 1. Accidents, 18. Arrests reported, 28. Vehicle and traffic incidents, 109. Domestic incidents, 16. Parking tickets, 129. And that's all I have for reports.
Thank you. Resolutions, Syracuse Esperson.
Whereas the Board of Trustees for the Village of Fredonia are authorized by Chapter 63, Section 1D to determine the rules of the procedures for the conduct of its meetings. And whereas the Board believes the standardization and adherence to a policy concerning the submission of resolutions will increase discussion and communication while affording the trustees and the public their right to speak, now therefore be it resolved that the Village Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia hereby adopts the following procedures regarding the submission and creation of all resolutions. Any resolutions being submitted for placement on the agenda of a regularly scheduled or special meeting of the Board shall be submitted to the village clerk no later than 1 p.m. on the Monday or 1 week prior to said meeting. Resolutions sponsored by one or more trustees shall be submitted by 1 p.m. on the Monday or a week prior to the regularly scheduled board meeting in order to be placed on the agenda. Complete and final agendas shall be placed in trustee mailboxes and available to the public on both the website and in a hard copy no later than 12 p.m. on the Thursday or 4 days prior to said board meeting. Resolutions placed on the agenda after the deadline shall meet the following criteria in order to be included or considered for action. The action must have financial impact on the village, positive or negative, and require an action that must be taken prior to the next meeting date, or have an immediate effect on the health and/or safety of the citizens of the village. All resolutions that come before the village board shall be written or approved by the village attorney when necessary. During the workshop, trustees shall have the opportunity to discuss any proposed resolution along with any other village business. Members of the public will be afforded the opportunity to speak on any action taken or contemplated by the board during the public comment portion of the regular meeting, subject to the following rules, which shall be read at the meeting immediately prior to the opportunity for the public to comment. This portion of the meeting is for public comment. Any member of the public wishing to speak, once recognized, shall stand and state their name and address. Speaker will be allowed 3 minutes of speaking for themselves or 5 minutes of speaking on behalf of a group. The mayor will determine in his or her discretion if individuals are speaking for themselves or representing a group.
Second?
Trustee Brockler.
Aye.
Trustee Esperson.
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse.
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell.
I would prefer to have the workshops at the same time as we have the meetings, so people are able to see this. So I'm going to vote nay on this right now.
Trustee Wendell.
Aye.
Passed.
Thank you.
Trustee Twitchell.
Whereas the village board adopted a resolution at its December 26, 2023 meeting in favor of drawing down the reservoir, decommissioning the water treatment plant, and constructing infrastructure to allow the purchasing water from Dunkirk as described in the Labella report as option 3, and whereas following the December 26, 2023 board meeting, one or more trustees have received comments from Fredonia citizens who strongly disagree with the board's decision favoring option 3, and whereas such comments include statements that the resolution was adopted hastily before the village board had the opportunity for due diligence, and that the village board did not answer specific questions which are not addressed in the Labella report, such as a cost analysis specific to the requirements to construct infrastructure allowing for distribution of water from Dunkirk, and why public engagement did not include referral to the Fredonia Planning Board or to the New York State Environmental Law, and what is the plan for the reservoir and its surrounding forest. And whereas January 2024 report by the New York State Comptroller details unintended financial indebtedness incurred by North Chautauqua County Water District in its purchase of water from Dunkirk and its construction of infrastructure for the distribution of water from Dunkirk, such that reasonable doubt is raised toward a similar plan of action to be pursued by the Village of Fredonia. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Village Board of Trustees hereby rescinds the resolution adopted by the board December 26, 2023, a copy of which is included as attachment A, and be it further resolved that the village board shall adopt a reasonable time frame for moving forward with option 1 of the Labella report described as the necessary upgrades to the reservoir and treatment plant.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We'll go for the vote. Trustee Twitchell.
Aye.
Trustee Wendell.
Nay.
Trustee Syracuse.
Nay.
Trustee Esperson.
No.
Trustee Brockler.
No.
Motion denied. Esperson and Wendell.
And before I read the next resolution, in conversation with the president of Festivals Fredonia, the Fredonia Farm, where it says Fredonia Farm Festival, that'll be changed to be determined. Be it resolved that permission is hereby granted to the Festivals Fredonia Committee for the exclusive use of Barker Common East and West, various parking spaces in Village Street for the following festivals or events for which they assume responsibility. Fredonia Easter Festival, March 23rd, 2024. Fredonia Italian Festival, June 22nd, 2024. TBA, August 23rd to 25th, 2024. Red, White, and Blues, September 6th, 7th, 2024. Harvest Moon Festival and Tours, October 18, 19, 2024. Miracle on Main Street, December 2nd, 2024.
Do we have a second? Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, Trustee Brockler.
Aye.
Trustee Esperson.
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse.
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell.
Aye.
Trustee Wendell.
Aye.
So passed. Trustee Brockler and Wendell.
Be it resolved that pursuant to Section 5-520 of Village Law, the following budget transfers are hereby approved. $3,000 from H8330.2 filtration capital floor resurfacing to F8330.43 filtration travel training. $5,000 from A1990 contingency to A1010.43 trustees travel training. $500 from A1990 contingency to A1210.43 mayor travel training.
Do we have a second? Do we have a second?
That's you, trustee Wendell.
Trustee Rendell?
Yep, I second.
Okay. Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell?
Aye.
Trustee Wandell?
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
So passed.
Be it resolved that the schedule of meetings of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia for the period of January through June 2024, see attached, as set forth and attached to these minutes as amended, is hereby approved, and be it further resolved that the village clerk is hereby authorized to publish said notice and mail a copy of said schedule to WDOE, Radio, the Jamestown Post Journal, and the Buffalo News as amended.
Do we have a second? Trustee Wandell?
I second.
Trustee Twitchell?
I do not approve of this because of the workshops. I would rather have them in the evening when people can attend.
Trustee Wandell?
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
So approved. Trustee Syracuse?
Nope.
Oh,
it's
you already
Wendell.
had that, I'm sorry.
Be it resolved.
Go ahead.
The mayor is hereby authorized and directed to execute the master professional services agreement between the village and Labella Associates for annual assistance with grant administration up to $25,000 and expires December 31, 2024.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell?
Aye.
Trustee Wandell?
Aye.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Good so.
Be it resolved that the request of wastewater treatment plant operator Michael Woodward to attend the NYWEA annual meeting technical conference from February 5th to 7th, not to exceed $1,700, is hereby approved.
Second.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell?
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Wandell?
Aye.
Be it resolved that the request of village trustees John Esperson, Michelle Twitchell, Ben Brockler, and Paul Wandell, and Mayor Ferguson to attend the NICOM Winter Legislative Meeting February 4 to 6, 2024 at the Marriott Albany is hereby approved at a cost not to exceed $6,000, $1,500 for the mayor. This conference is sponsored by the New York State Conference of Mayors.
We have second?
I second.
Trustee Twitchell?
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Wandell?
Aye.
We want to remind everybody that there is no meeting for February 5th since we will be at the NICOM convention. And the next meeting will be a open workshop Wednesday, January 31st at 9 a.m. in these very chambers. I want to thank everybody for their input. I want to thank the trustees for their continued work for the community. And remember that we're all in the same boat. And I would also like to mention to Mr. Leon, I promise you we will have a document with the answers to your question to you on time for the next meeting. Thank you. Motion to dismiss?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Safe travels.